Mu Peiling, the most misunderstood woman in record of a mortal's journey to immortality. Welcome back to 1991 Review. Mu Peiling is perhaps the most misunderstood woman in the world of A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality. Many consider her to be selfish and manipulative, while others appreciate her assertiveness. So, what is the truth? Were her decisions truly born from selfishness, or were they merely the desperate struggles of someone forced by circumstance? To properly understand her character, let's join 1991 Review in a detailed analysis of Mu Peiling's tragic journey. It all began when Han Li, after successfully achieving core formation, concealed his true cultivation level and joined the Drifting Cloud sect under the guise of a Qi Condensation Realm disciple. There, he returned to his old trade as a pharmacy boy, and Mu Peiling was assigned by the sect to assist him. Naturally, she became his Martial Aunt Mu. Initially, Martial Aunt Mu did not think highly of Han Li, a person whose innate talent seemed exceptionally ordinary. However, Han Li turned out to be a surprising dark horse. He not only passed every selection trial within the sect, but also represented the Drifting Cloud sect in a grand sword competition, securing a spot in the top 10. This achievement left Mu Peiling utterly astonished and bewildered. As time went on, she found it increasingly impossible to see through Han Li, and thus, she began to observe him secretly for several years. Meanwhile, with his superb acting skills, Han Li perfectly concealed all his secrets, always behaving modestly, and eventually succeeded in condensing his nascent soul right within the Drifting Cloud sect. At this exact moment, tragedy befell Mu Peiling. Her family, for the benefit of her older brother, forced her into an arranged marriage with his senior brother Yen, a man who was not only short and vile, but whose cultivation was even lower than hers. As a person with high standards and pride, Mu Peiling felt deeply aggrieved and unwilling. She yearned for a bright future, but was instead faced with this cruel reality. Every night, her heart filled with desire for freedom, but the shackles of her family only tightened. Despite trying to escape many times, she was ultimately cornered with no way out. In her desperation, Mu Peiling had no choice but to beg Han Li for protection, knowing the hope was slim. After being rejected, she took a desperate gamble and lied, claiming that Han Li had already taken her as a concubine. This act horrified both the Yen and Mu families, who quickly sent letters for confirmation. When Han Li learned of this, he was furious, but what was done was done. He presented Mu Peiling with two choices: a concubine in name only. She would publicly be Han Li's concubine, but would, in reality, be a servant girl in his residence for 20 years. She would have to obey his every command and would receive no assistance in her cultivation during this time. After the matter settled down, Han Li would restore her freedom. A true concubine, she would serve him for life and could not betray him. In return, Han Li would care for her and guide her on the path of cultivation. However, to prevent betrayal, Han Li would place a seal on her primordial spirit. Because the human heart is unpredictable, love today can turn into hatred tomorrow. 3 days later, Mu Peiling chose a second path, but she proposed one condition. She hoped Han Li would not take her primordial Een for 30 years. She explained, "This junior knows that Senior Han is not a man driven by lust. This junior hopes that for the next 30 years, you will not take my primordial Een. This is because this is a crucial period for me to break through to the core formation stage, and the cultivation technique I practice requires me to maintain my chastity." Once 30 years had passed, regardless of whether she succeeded in core formation, she would officially explore the path of dual cultivation with Han Li. Han Li readily agreed. Initially, their relationship was based entirely on mutual benefit. Mu Peiling needed protection, while Han Li needed her to practice the Earth Phoenix primal arts in the hope of one day breaking through his own cultivation bottleneck. The turning point occurred when Han Li and Mu Peiling attended a trade fair. There, a certain Marquis named Gong was captivated by her beauty and made a forceful demand to trade for her. Han Li showed no fear, resolutely refusing and even challenging the Marquis to a spiritual sense duel. This act moved Mu Peiling to her core. She was only a concubine in name, and there were no deep feelings between them. Yet Han Li was willing to confront a higher-level cultivator for her sake. In the eyes of high-level cultivators, the status of a concubine was incredibly low, and trading them was a common affair. Han Li's resolute protection melted her heart. From that moment on, Mu Peiling truly fell in love with Han Li. Love changed her. From an independent and strong-willed woman with a steadfast heart for the Tao, she became fearful and insecure. The arrival of Lu Yu, Han Li's new disciple, added to her pressure. Lu Yu frequently teased her. "Fellow Taoist Mu, although you're the master's concubine, perhaps you are still a virgin? No wonder the master treats you like a guest. With your beauty, how could the master not be moved? Or is there some hidden reason? The new female cultivator, martial ancestor Nangong, surpasses you in beauty. You had better watch yourself." Lu Yu's taunts, along with rumors of Han Li's confidant, The #1 beauty of the heavenly south region, Fairy Zeling, were like knives stabbing into her fragile heart. As a naive girl with little experience in love, and no one to confide in, she felt lonely and anxious. She knew there was still a barrier in Han Li's feelings for her. Compared to Nan Gongwan, she was not only less beautiful, but also inferior in cultivation. Faced with these complex emotions, feeling both inferior and unwilling to give up, she finally decided to bravely confess her feelings to Han Li, wishing to become his true Dao companion. But all she received was a cold refusal. Han Li once again presented her with two choices. Leave. Han Li would compensate her with some benefits for practicing the cultivation technique over the years, and then restore her freedom. From then on, they would have nothing to do with each other. Stay. If she dedicated herself to the Tao, Han Li would let her stay. Her title would remain as his concubine, but she would effectively be treated as his disciple. He could guide her cultivation or recommend her to become Nan Gongwan's disciple. Mu Peiling did not want either choice. She only wanted to be with Han Li, but Han Li was single-mindedly focused on the Tao, often entering secluded cultivation for decades or even centuries. If she could not reach the nascent soul realm, after just a few of Han Li's seclusions, she would likely have turned to dust with no chance of seeing him again. Following him would only be a waste of her life. In the end, seeing a reflection of her past self in Mu Peiling's situation, Nan Gongwan did not take her as a disciple, but instead accepted her as a sworn sister. In the works of author Wang Yu, it seems that any woman connected to Han Li rarely meets a happy end. To love someone who loves another. What kind of helplessness and despair is that, under continuous blows? Mu Peiling not only suffered immense pain, but also developed an inner demon that will haunt her for the rest of her life. Who says a cultivator's life is glorious? Who knows of the infinite pain concealed behind it? If there is no fate, why did we meet in this life? If there's fate, why have all feelings turned to nothingness? Indeed, while Han Li was in seclusion to break through to the spirit transformation realm, Mu Peiling, with her lifespan nearly exhausted, failed in her attempt to break through to the nascent soul realm. She suffered a backlash from her inner demon and unfortunately passed away. As his nominal concubine, after Han Li emerged from his seclusion, he visited her grave to pay his respects and remember her. So, what are your thoughts on Mu Peiling? Was she a figure more deserving of pity than blame? Please leave your opinions in the comments section for discussion. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you next time on 1991 Review.